Hey, it's Rio. It is week 5 in our class, and it may feel like we're even a little smaller. Some folks in this class, it just didn't work into their schedule. They had other commitments. So it's a very intimate class, which is cool, totally cool. Right? So just know that if you see less posts, that's why. Okay, so I looked at your work from last night, and what was cool is that most of you not only did the HTTP API, same concept of the HTTP request, the API call to a random user, and figured out how to get that information back, which is awesome. Some of you, I think most of you actually went ahead and did the forecast piece. So next week, actually, so you're perfectly set up for next week, which would suggest to me it's probably time for you to start looking at your Dev Zero. It's a good time because you have a good jump on next week's Learn Together work. And I went over that this week, and I really appreciate Ephron pulling out some questions that I want to answer here about, understanding the CRUD operations. So think about it on the email app we've been doing. When you send a new email, well, that's the C part, is like you're getting that user input, you're writing the results of that input into a file. So that's the create. When you read, right, you're finding one specific email in that JSON file, and so that's your read. Now, when you delete, it's the same idea. You want to find one specific or some criteria for finding items that you delete inside your JSON file. And then update. So I actually went CRU. So I jumped over the U to D. So update is the one that we haven't seen as much of. So it may need a little more work. May need to figure out how do you grab one specific entry and one specific object in your array to update, right? But that one should, it's just an array method. There's ways to locate one, and then just create a new object, and then write that new object into the JSON file. You can either delete the old one and create a new one. That's another way to do it. I would accept that one as a update as well. So for me, I think what I would probably do on my email one was when I do my inbox command, I would have emails that had maybe a new, and I'd put them to R. So I'd change the status on them. That's one of the ways I definitely could do an update. So it's some way that you're updating your data. I will put a link if you want to read more. And I thought I did, so maybe I didn't. And also just doing a simple search on CRUD operations, because you hear it all the time. But here's what I want you to know. And I thought I had said this, but I love that we get to reiterate it, is that basically we were doing all those operations when we were writing our version of the email, and Andrew did them in his notes. But just he doesn't necessarily clearly say these are CRUD operations. But I want you to know, because this is a very common thing that you hear out there, is that this idea of that somebody will ask you or say, this is an app that just basically does CRUD operations. This is very common. I want you to know that, right? So, and it seems like most of you didn't. Actually, Tim had another question I thought it was really interesting. Tim kind of was wondering, he was understanding that you had to combine both the first part where you're doing the CRUD operations with the second part, which is making HTTP requests, the stuff we worked on last night. And no, you don't have to. If you're going to write code for both, and I'll talk about that in a minute, right? They definitely could be two separate ones. You would just want to look at a different API than we've seen so far, making some kind of call to an API, and then getting that result back, capturing that data, and then sending that data to your second API HTTP request. But if you want to figure out a way to combine them, I'm totally open to that. And then Ephron, the other thing that he was asking about is clarification. So clarification in this case on option 2 for the API HTTP request is like, yeah, if you don't write code for it, then just come in prepared to answer questions for the content that was covered. And that's the way I'll grade you for that particular part. Okay? Great questions. Thanks for asking them. I hope this helps clarify that for any of you. Please let me know if you want to chat more. Next week, coming into week 5, is a great week to bring code to me. When you see the code review schedule, what you'll see is I have most of the dates before that's actually due the week after the February 20th. But I do have a few after. No, it's better to come see me before, because then we can help. If you have something that's not working, maybe I could help you, or in this case, give you feedback that you could fix on your code. Remember, code review, your develop it projects are way big in this class. And I think I talked about that last time, but they're 50% of this grade. So make sure you nail those and get as much help as you need. Have a great and wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.